Thank you very much, Mr. MC. And I think this is one of the sessions that are very difficult to moderate because people are tired. But we'll make sure that we make you feel free, fresh, and also follow in the program. Let me not waste time, but let me call the panelists to come one by one. Mr. Rutazamba, please. Mr. Rutazamba, as he's coming, I would like to say a few words about him. Please take a seat. This is a panel discussion. It's not going to be a presentation. I'll be asking questions, and they'll be answering my questions, and then you shall ask. You'll be allowed to ask questions from the floor, so it will flow like that. Mr. Rutazamba, when I joined the insurance industry, was already a manager. So these are the managers actually who trained us in insurance. I respect him quite a lot. If I know insurance, it's because of them. And do you know when I joined the industry? Way back in 1978. So I've been in the industry for 40 years. He has been in the industry for 56 years. Is a full professional insurer in the sense that he's an ACIA holder and is a broker now, one of the leading brokers in the market. And he is a man with many hats. At one point in time, he was Secretary General of Young, I think, Young Sports Club. So he has many facets, and as I said, he wears many hats. The second person that I would like to call out, Mr. Rutazamba has got many things. He's now on the board of National Health Insurance Fund as vice chair, I think. He deputizes the former speaker. So you can see he's a man who can explain for for a long time, but I don't want to waste time on that. The second person I'm told is Tongola. Tongola, you are very new to the industry, so I think you deserve a good introduction. The first name is Yusto. Yes, Yusto Tongola. Yusto Tongola has joined the industry, meaning insurance, recently, I think in less than a year, but he has been in the financial sector for many years. I've known him in those years as the secretary to the central bank. He was the secretary to the central bank and chief legal counsel of the Central Bank of Tanzania. He's now the director of legal services with the TIBA, I think. Is that the title?
I've recently switched. I'm now the director responsible for surveillance and prudential supervision.
You know, I left TIDA 2.5 years ago, so I don't know what is happening there. The third person that I'll invite to the podium is my friend and brother Muhindi. Is he around, Mr. Muhindi? Yes, please. Why are you hiding? You are sitting very far from the business. Come and take a seat. Mr. Muhindi also is an old timer in this market. I think he has been around for more than 10 years now, isn't it? Am I right or wrong? Yeah, just about 10 years. He's the MD for the Insurance Group of Tanzania. Those that grew up in Kenya and joined the industry, they call him Mwalimu because he used to teach the College of Insurance, isn't it? He used to teach the College of Insurance in Nairobi. Most of the managers of the present time have gone through his hands. He's now the IGT Managing Director, the Insurance Group of Tanzania. I was expecting another panelist, but he's not around, so we'll do with the three that are here. So without wasting time, how much is our time? We had 50 minutes. 15? From 50? Ah, yeah. That is not possible even with technology. we must be given more time because we are going to discuss very important issues for this industry. The topic has been read out by the MC, and it's about how do we increase penetration through regulatory reforms, through proper insurance pricing, through distribution with technology, and the other means. Even before I go further, I need, because I had not got the time to congratulate the commissioner. He's here. I think I'll have to ask for my license tomorrow. I don't want to, yeah, because once you go into that office, you change. So, but when you come out of that office, you change also. So I have to register my acknowledgement that the commissioner is here, and I cannot misbehave, in front of him. This topic has been, spoken of from the morning, and we have touched quite a lot of it. Much of it actually has been covered, but I think we want to put it into the different, perspectives. Let me ask the panel a general question, which I'll give each and everyone a minute to answer. If you were to unwind the clock, Mr. Rutazamba, would you still wish to be a broker in this market? If today was the year back in 1999, you are unwinding the clock, would you still be wishing to be a broker in this market? Mr. Yusto Tongola, if you were to come now and join the insurance industry, would you come in through the regulatory door or something else? Mr. Muhindi, if you were to join the industry today from Kenya as you came, would you wish to work as an insurer or a broker or somebody else? 1 minute each.
I would like to sit down and watch you without answering the question. But to be very frank with you, I mean, if we have to be frank with each other, I wouldn't choose to be a broker. And I give you a reason or two. Because it's no longer enjoyable to do broking business. The laws are very tight. There hasn't been much extensive and inclusive consultations. Some of the laws and regulations do not appear to have been well researched. But because I'm a broker, I have to continue to be a broker. But in actual fact, I was very glad this morning to hear the Commission of Insurance talk about the future. And if the future is what he is projecting, then I'll be glad to continue to be a broker.
My answer would be basically I would definitely want to come through the regulatory door, for the simple reason that my career life is basically been dedicated to regulating. And I would say I would think that I'll find comfort in that area, in the sense that basically in a typical developing market like ours, what you do as a regulator, you play two roles. One is developing, but the other is to find a balance between developing and stability. So I think, to me, I would enjoy that part. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very tough question, particularly for me, because I think I enjoyed being a broker, but probably I'm enjoying more being an insurer. So I think I would choose to access the market or to enter into the market as an insurer. And I first actually got into the market as an insurer with UAP. Then I moved to broking before I got into underwriting. Yeah, it's a very, very tough question. Yeah, because on one hand, for me, I see myself as a leader. Although I also see myself as a marketer. So, but on the other hand, there is the aspect of technical expertise that I appreciate. I'm one person who believes in leading from a point of knowledge. And that's why it becomes a bit difficult for me to choose. I would say I would be okay either way. No, that's not a very good answer.
Thank you very much. The reason why I ask this question is because we have heard much about disappointments, but also very encouraging words about the way the industry is moving, and especially the broking side, the challenges that are facing them currently, and how they can navigate those waters, the troubled waters, to be able to reach in their destination. So that's why I asked this question. Now I'll ask each one of you to answer a question directed to you. Let me start with Mr. Tongola. You said you are enjoying regulation. What is it you as a regulator that will keep you awake at night between the two? Is it the market development, insurance market development in Tanzania, or it is the protection or safeguarding the market against failure? What is it that you as a regulator spend much time on? Are you thinking more about developing the market, or you are thinking more about protecting the market from failure? Because of late we have seen many changes, in terms of regulatory laws, circulars, and all this, a barrage of, circulars coming to us. Or they seem to be in one direction, protecting the market against failure. Which do you give much weight as a regulator?
Thank you.
You have 4 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I think, to be fair, as I said earlier, in an environment like Tanzania, both areas are a bit challenging. One, for one, you cannot actually keep the market going if you do not also take part in facilitating its growth. So you have to facilitate the growth of the market, that's the development part of it, while also ensuring that whoever is in the market is actually playing the game in such a manner that is safe, sound, as well as protective in terms of the interests of the policyholders. So to me, I would say it's both. And the key point that I would want to emphasize in that regard is the fact that whether you're developing, whether you're protecting, one thing that is very, very important is the confidence, market confidence. And market confidence is not only a functioning of you taking care as regulator of the stability issues, but also you have to take care of the development issues, because you don't only ensure that you make the market stable, safe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I would say it's actually both, to the extent that you have to develop the market while also making sure that the market is stable. Thank you.
There were many follow-up questions, but because of the time limitation, I think I have to go to Mr. Rutazamba now. Mr. Rutazamba, pricing in insurance is a very key component in making the market stable, sound, and also evolve. If you want the market to evolve, you have to look at the pricing. We have now what we call the predetermined premium rates, whereby everyone aged 20 years, the other one aged 70 years. If they are insuring a car, it is 3.5% if it is comprehensive, regardless of your age, regardless of your profession, regardless of your occupation. It's just 3.5%. Take it or leave it. How is this helping the market to evolve?
Well, very frankly, it doesn't. But probably we should be on the positive side. I think we need to go. I don't have to go into details because of the time. But it's quite unfair because if you have a judge, for instance, who doesn't use his car in motor insurance, except occasionally, and if you have a marketing manager who uses his car 24/7, and you have a new graduate who joins the market and is a new driver, this is his first time to own a car, and you charge them all the same rate, it simply is not fair. Somebody was talking about increasing the minimum rate this morning, which is probably fair. But I think we need to have a range of a rate that runs between a range, say between 3.5 and 6%, so that you can reward those that do better and penalize those who are causing losses. The most important thing, in my opinion, is to make sure that we go back to basics, to the basic underwriting principles. That is one. I will not go into details. But the second one, which is very important and has not been mentioned throughout the day, is to do research. We don't do research in the insurance industry. I know TIBA does, but we don't share that information in details. We need to have TIBA information. We need to have individual companies' information. And we also need to undertake a collective or joint market research through ATI, TIBA, and so forth. It is through such efforts that we would be able to do things scientifically. And finally, I think as far as life insurance is concerned, we need to undertake actuarial analysis. We cannot continue to charge rates, depending, at least this is what used to be the case. I don't know about now, because I don't know a lot of life insurance. But we cannot continue to follow the actuarial rate, the mortality rates that were developed in India. I have nothing wrong with Indians, but they have their own span of life and we have our own experience. So we need to undertake research and actuarial evaluation in order that we may address the risks, the domicile risks that we face in Tanzania. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohindi, much has been mentioned about technology and that the future now lies in applying or leveraging on the modern technology if we have to develop and also remain in business, because banks have gone very far and people always compare insurance with banks. There's no way that we can underrate that fact. Do you see the need for any regulatory changes or, in terms of our law and insurance practices which you think that in the near future might need to be undertaken in order for us to take full benefit of adopting the new technology and therefore reaping, the results? Can you take 2 minutes, because I want us to go around again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The landscape of insurance business has changed, and it will continue to change. It will continue to change because it will feature new players. And that point has been belabored. Therefore, in terms of regulatory measures that needs to be addressed, I would say that there are these new players who will be featured in the market. And the question is, will they end up having an added advantage compared to the traditional players? In other words, those who will be moving the products digitally, will they end up having an added advantage compared to the traditional players? But if they are coming to expand the market, not to eat into the existing market, then there might be not much of a problem. But then the regulations will need to address how to regulate online brokers, how to regulate A1 agents, artificial intelligence agents or robotics, because we have seen in the banking sector, more money is now being pushed by mobile phone operators. They are pushing more loans probably than banks, and yet they are not as regulated as banks. So they have an added advantage. So there will be a need to level the playing field.
Thank you.
The other small issue I would like to...
Is it really small? Because time is what... Yeah. This man is standing beside me here.
Yeah. I want to talk about the aspect of the minimum rates. And to say that basically today's customer would want to be rated not as an average person, but you'd want the customer behavior to be integrated in the rating factors. And for us to justify the kind of rates that we are going to charge our clients, those rates, as Mr. Kamzora had said in the morning, will have to be justified in a way that you have to break down that rate in a manner that does not show like you are building in inefficiencies. You know, past inefficiencies should not be loaded on the client. Frauds claims should not be loaded onto the client, because insurance industry should come up with, say, databases that should be able to weed off fraudulent claims so that the customer does not pay for the risk he introduces into the pool, as well as paying for the fraudulent claims which arise out of failure of risk management. And at the same time, the Commissioner of Insurance is the chief risk manager and the chief promoter of insurance. And to that extent, risk management being or entails looking at risk from the insured's point of view, not from an insurance point of view, and then looking at how best to handle that risk. So the commissioner's position has to remain broad enough to accommodate new players, if at all they are going to benefit the end consumer.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Muhindi. Maybe let me wrap up what came up from the panel here. Is that on the issue of premium rates, I think we all agree that we need to look again into these rates, and if possible, to get a range so that people cannot charge a flat rate for each and every risk. Those that are good drivers must be rewarded, must be given something back, like no claim bonuses and things like that. But also, when we are talking about the minimum, we should have a range whereby people can go from below and play in between. And for us to be able to enforce that, I think we need a very strong association, because we know each other. We know who is charging less, who is doing that. But we also need TIRA to apply the full force of the law. TIRA might not have the capacity to go and check in the files to see who has undercut the premium. But the association will know, because if somebody takes your client, you know. You ask the client, why are you not renewing? The client will tell you, somebody has given me a better rate. Now, if that rate is not what is supposed to be commensurate with the risk, you report that matter immediately to the association. Then the association brings up the matter, and the law actually is very clear. Anything that the association brings up to the commissioner takes, he can take I So I think it is the associations themselves, brokers and the insurance associations, that are supposed to be doing that. When I come to Tongola, the regulator, I think what we are calling for here is that we need proportionate supervision. One size cannot fit, all. Like the T-shirts, we have X, double X, 3Xs. Tino and I failed to get a T-shirt. Now, how do you give me the same T-shirt that you give to my brother here? Because that is what we are getting from TIRA nowadays. A secular comes, it is one size fits all, isn't it? I think that's what we are now asking for, that we need to get to have a proportionate supervision. If somebody needs 2 jabs of an injection for malaria, give him 2 jabs. If somebody needs only 1 jab, give him 1 jab. I think that is what we are calling for. With Muhinde on the technology side, I think we are all agreeing that there is no way we can go back. But as far as the regulatory changes are concerned, there's no way that TIRA can regulate the MNOs, that is the mobile network operators, if they come into insurance without collaboration with the national payment systems, the BOT, and TICRA, the TCRA, because each and the one has got to have his role. So our laws now must be structured in such a way that when you go to the Insurance Act will be talking about how to regulate business that is being offered on a platform of a mobile phone, but it will also tell you that approvals must come from TIRA, BOT, and TCRA, so that those MNOs cannot misbehave. Somebody talked about 60%. They are saying of commission, they're saying if you want to use our platform for us to be able to sell your products using our platform, then you have to give us a commission of 60%. How does that factor? How do you factor that in your premium? It doesn't work at all. So I think these are the issues in a nutshell. We wanted 50 minutes, but he gave us 15 minutes, and as you see, he has never got fat in his lifetime. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and you missed a T-shirt for becoming too big. Thank you. Mr. Kamuzora, I didn't like to say that you don't fit to get a T-shirt, but we are fit to get an award. So the entire panel can come here for the awards. Moderator and all those panelists who are here can just come up again for an award. This time I'll ask Farid to do the presentation. Tongola and Samu Muhinde. So the first one goes to Mr. Kamuzora, the moderator, the one who missed a T-shirt, but he got one award. Sometimes I like to see like I'm also putting something into the topic, but then I find myself I'm an MC, so I have to shut up. Okay, this one goes to Mr. Rutazamba, going by age and respect. Mr. Rutazamba, thank you very much. Oh, the shield has fallen off, so you are not protected anymore. Okay, it will be fit, no problem. So the third one goes to the regulator to just appear that we are compliant. Yeah? There you go. Okay, thank you, Yusto. And the underwriter texted the last one, Mr. Samu Muhinde. We sort of share one name. Eh? Okay, thank you very much.